Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another video. So let's talk about tonight's episode of Fear the Walking Dead titled USS Pennsylvania. Tonight's episode was my favorite in a long time, and I've been seeing some people say that it was filler. I really do disagree with the fact that it's filler because it actually really progresses the storyline a lot. Like, a major thing happens in this episode, and we're going to talk about it right away, but that big thing we were wondering if it was going to happen or not this season actually does happen. A lot of the build up to it, to that moment, like that moment's not just going to happen like that. Like, you got to slowly build to that moment. You got to make it worth it. And I think it was worth it. So in my opinion, I think Fear the Walking Dead season 6 is just, it's been really great. And what they built up to now, I'm really excited about what happens in the finale, because yes, the big thing happened, but we still haven't seen the ramifications of it. We still don't know the result of it. We just know, okay, this happened. Now what? Right? And so that's what we're going to explore in the finale. I'm going to do a trailer breakdown after this video, so stay tuned for that. We'll talk about the finale. I'll get my predictions and stuff like that in there. I think I might want to do a death predictions video as well, because those are always fun to do. I haven't done one in a while. That would be really fun to do for the finale. Now that I've watched episode 15, I've seen the trailer and all that, I think I'm a little comfortable saying who I think is going to die, just because I think the trailer does hint at a few characters, at least one for sure. And again, I could be wrong, but it's a death prediction. It's just me making predictions, right? So before we go any further and discuss this episode, obviously I do have to warn you for spoilers for tonight's episode. And also, in case you weren't aware, I did release the podcast. It's called the Forest Day Podcast. The link for it should be down below. It is on Spotify. It is also on a YouTube channel. The reason why I decided to put it on a separate YouTube channel, I'll just say this really quick, is just because this way you're subscribing to the podcast specifically, right? Because you're interested in the podcast, so you'll go follow me on Spotify, or you'll follow me on the YouTube channel. And this way, the people that don't want to listen to the podcast or anything like that don't have to get it on their feed and stuff. Like, I know it's technically smarter to have it on this channel, but I'm just like, I prefer to kind of keep it its own thing. The first episode is out now. That episode, we talk about season 1 of The Walking Dead. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I'm actually looking at the response to it. We got a lot of followers there on Spotify. There's a lot of streams or downloads, I guess is what they call them. And it was a big response. I wasn't expecting that. So I'm super, super grateful for that. But yeah, the links for that should be down below. And next episode, we're going to be talking about season 2 of The Walking Dead. And then as soon as the final season comes in, we're going to talk about the final season every episode. There will be a review the Sunday that the episode comes out. It'll be like an hour, 2-hour discussion of the episode, which I think should be a lot of fun for you guys. So first, let's talk about this episode. This episode was pretty linear in terms of a story. It's literally linear. They start at the beginning of a subway or outside of it, walk to the subway, from one end to the other end of the subway, and the episode ends. So I actually liked that part about it. And the cool thing about it was the fact that they had that I don't know what they call it, but it's like a dosimeter or whatever it is. It detects radiation. I know they called it something different in this episode, but that's, at least from when I watched Chernobyl, I'm pretty sure that's what they called it. And it detects radiation. And in my reaction, which if you are a member, you most likely watched already, in my reaction, I was actually surprised at how, at certain points, how much they actually utilize that. Like, there were zombies that literally you couldn't touch them, and I know that from watching Chernobyl. Like, you cannot touch the zombies. That's very bad. You stay away from them, and they did that in this episode. They stayed away. I couldn't believe how high those levels were, and then when you get to certain places, like Morgan was about to go through that door, and in that room there was a ton of them. Insanely high levels. Morgan would have been dead from there. He might have had minutes. I don't know how high that was. It was like 40,000 something. That was high. But Morgan was willing to do it. And that is kind of the criticisms I have for Morgan, but I also do understand it, is like, it's kind of the dumb decisions he's making for doing things. Like, he is constantly risking his life when he doesn't really need to be. And I guess at some moments it feels like he has to, but like, he doesn't have to. You know what I mean? Like, for how many times it happened in this episode, I don't think we needed to see it that much, but it was awesome to have Strand there, even though in that one scene, he really pissed me off. And actually, I do want to talk about that. Like, overall, that's the one scene I actually have an issue with in the episode, and that is a bunch of walkers fell on top of Morgan, and I don't understand how he didn't get bit. There was like 5 or 6 of them on him. Like, walkers are weak, but there's still that weight. And yes, they're skinny as hell because they're walkers. They haven't eaten in how long, right? But they're not that skinny. Like, some of them are. Some of them maybe weigh 70, 80 pounds, but that's still a lot of weight on you. And there is a lot of walkers. And so say every walker weighed 70 pounds. That's that much weight There's also the force of them kind of falling on you. Their teeth are going right on you. Like, I'm just kind of, it's really hard to believe that he survived that. I don't get that. Especially because I don't know how he would have got out of that. It gets just backed up unless they're saving that for a reveal for the finale, like he did get bit. I do wonder if that is kind of a thing, just because of stuff that happened in the premiere of this season. There's actually a line of dialogue in here where Morgan does say, like, he knows how to get through this. He's done it before. Or there was something that he was going to do that he didn't want to tell them. And I wonder if that's, in a sense, hinting to like an immunity storyline. But I don't think so. And so I think that moment was just kind of dumb. It didn't need to happen. I don't get why all those walkers fell on him, or I guess why he survived that. And they didn't really explain it. They just kind of left it there. And I found it so weird because, first of all, when you see that scene and you see Strand backing up, like, Strand looks horrible. He basically killed Morgan in that scene. And it's so hard for me because I really like Strand, but he keeps doing stupid shit to the point where I'm like, I don't know if I actually like you anymore. And it's not like to the point where it's just little things here and there where it's like, that doesn't really matter. It's like his story in general, he's just not on our side. He's always for himself. I don't know if he's really a likable character. He is, if you think about this entire season, like Morgan actually said in this episode, he said, you weren't doing this for everyone. You were doing it for yourself. And you came here to find Alicia to tell her that you're this hero when you just wanted that satisfaction of saying that. And I do see that a lot in Strand. He really is more self-serving. And I think that I still like him because he's a season 1 character. He was my favorite character. Him and Nick were my favorite until Morgan came around. But yeah, if there's haters out there of Strand, then I don't really blame them, because when that scene happened, I was pretty pissed off. Now, the visuals in this episode I thought actually worked really well. And I'm guessing a lot of that's green screen, or maybe it's not. Maybe it is just a location on a beach or in a desert or something. But it looked really great, especially the scene with all of them on top of the submarine. You can kind of see the desert or the landscape around them. That looked amazing. That looked so great. Like, we're not used to seeing visuals like that with anything Walking Dead related. And this show felt like a movie tonight. It felt like a cinematic experience, I would say. It felt so good to watch this. And a lot of that too is with the music. A lot of the music in this episode too built up certain moments, especially that scene there where they had the cards and they were trying to, oh no, it wasn't the cards yet, but they were about to go. Morgan and Strand were like, hey, we're going to go do this now, because they were right outside that door. And then the music built up and it felt like a movie. It felt like we were at the end of this like epic scene or epic showdown about to happen. All the other characters don't really have too much of a role. I know Grace is in this episode. Everyone else does enter the submarine, but they do stay back. I did like that part there in the beginning where they were all together and they were all discussing where do they go next and trying to go further in the submarine. It felt like they were a unit. It felt like they were a group. I mentioned it in my non-spoiler review. It felt like the group in season 1 of The Walking Dead. It really felt like they were a family. And now I really associate them as like a group. It's so weird that Althea's not there, but I guess that's something that's going to come into play maybe in the finale, or maybe it's going to be in season 7. We'll have to wait and see. The End is the Beginning group, or I guess Teddy's group, they are obviously in this episode. They basically, for the most part, were just trying to set off those missiles. They did succeed in the end, and we'll talk about that. But really, it was just him and Dakota. They were talking about, it's so crazy to me that Riley's just okay with dying. And I feel like in the finale, that's going to change. I think there's going to be something like an unsung hero type of moment where something happens with one of those characters, like with Riley or maybe with Dakota. I think one of them are going to turn for sure on Teddy, just because in the trailer it seemed like it, but it also seems like Riley just wasn't really listening to what Teddy was saying. Like, there were certain scenes in here where Teddy would say a bunch of things and Riley just kind of ignored him. And I don't know if that's me reading into it too much, but it really felt like he was just doing this to survive or whatever, just kind of, but like, I don't know, maybe he's a little confused. We'll have to wait and see. The actual showdown though, I am glad at how it happened. Like, Morgan got there, it was too late. It also explains like they had 10 or 12, I can't remember what it was, missiles, and each of them had 10 warheads on them. And only one of them went off, so that one that went off has 10 warheads, so that's gonna probably just ruin the area. I know that they did hit something so that the missile's gonna go somewhere else, but I think it's just kind of unpredictable. They don't know where it's gonna go. They can see it in the sky, but they don't know where it's going to land. And so they're just kind of like, it's probably going to be here somewhere. And I do think it's going to be in the area. And that's why the other 9 or 11 or whatever missiles didn't go off, because otherwise that would blow up the continent, like they were saying in the episode. That would affect Alexandria. We know that doesn't happen because that's 6 years in the future. So that makes sense that only one went off. I do think it's going to go off in next week's episode. And I don't know if we're going to get footage of that. Like, I think we should see the missile actually land down and like blow up everything. I think they're going to find the bunker, because that's what they need to do, right? They need to find Alicia. I think they're going to do that. I think some characters are going to die though, because you can't have everyone survive this. And yeah, but we'll talk about that in my trailer breakdown coming out right away. So I'll leave it here though. I thought tonight's episode was really great. I think it really paid off the storyline. I really want to see that. I guess it's not technically the aftermath yet, but I want to see the moment happen and how they all deal with the idea of this happening, because we didn't see that yet, right? We just saw the missile go out, which is really cool that they actually did that. I was worried that we were just going to hear it, we weren't going to see it actually fly out, but seeing that, the CGI looked incredible in that scene. It actually looked really great. So I'm excited for the finale. It's just 4 more days until that comes out, or at least for me, I get to watch it. And yeah, I'll post my non-spoiler review then, and then my spoiler review next Sunday. So hope you guys all enjoyed the video. Make sure to be a subscriber if you want more Walking Dead content or fear the Walking Dead content like this, and I'll see you guys in the next one.